Hey beautiful, in this video we are going to do this to-do application using React. This is our application. It will have two sections, pending to-dos and completed to-dos. There is a form. In the form we can type the to-do that we have to add. So I am typing learn Java, and after typing the to-do we can click on the add button. So that will add the to-do to the pending to-do section. By default, to-do will be added to the pending to-do section, and there is a completed to-do section also. If we have completed the to-do that we have added, we can simply click on the complete button and it will go to the completed to-do section. In the both section we have delete button. So if we want to delete any to-do, we can delete it using the delete button. It will get deleted. In both section you can see there is a count which shows how many to-dos are there in that section. When we are typing the to-do, if we want to clear it, we can simply click on the cancel button, that will get cleared. If we are clicking on the add button without typing any to-do text, then there will be an error message that will come which says to-do text should be minimum 3 characters. In both of our section we have a clear button. If we are clicking on that clear button, that section to-dos will get cleared. So I clicked on the clear button there, that section to-do got cleared. If I want to clear this also, I can click on the clear button, that will get cleared. So we are going to build the to-do application with all of these functionality that you just saw right now. So let's begin building our to-do application. So the first thing is to create our React application. So I am using the npx create react app command to create the React application. So in the terminal I am typing npx create react app, and after giving this command we have to give the name of our React application. So I am calling it to-do list English, and after giving the name of the application we have to press enter, and once we are clicking enter, the command will create the React application for us. The command have created the to-do application for us. So right now what we have to do is we have to open this application in a code editor. So I am opening it in the Visual Studio Code, and we will continue that in the Visual Studio Code. So I have opened that folder in the, I have opened that React application in the Visual Studio Code. So here I am taking a terminal and I will type npm start. So npm start is the command to start the React server. When we are typing npm start, it will start the React server. So you can see now our React application is running in the localhost 3000. 3000 is the default port of the React application. Now let's go to our application code and let's go to app.js. So whatever we are seeing here, this rotating logo, this is coming from the app.js. So we have to delete this code. So once we are deleting that code, all of these things are gone from here because we don't need it. If we go to the application that we want to build, you can see here there is a header which says my to-dos, and after that there is a form where we can add the to-do, and then there are two sections. So the first thing we have to do is we have to build the header section. All the CSS that you need for this application, I have given that CSS in a Google Sheet, and I will put that Google Sheet in the pinned comment or the video description. So you can get all the CSS for this video from the description or pinned comment. I will link that Google Sheet. So this is that sheet. So from here we have to, from here you have to copy all the CSS, and then you have to go to the index.css of the application. So in index.css there will be already some CSS written. We have to delete it and we have to paste the CSS. You have to paste the CSS that I have given you. I will tell you about the importance of the index.css file. Any CSS that we have given in the index.css will be available across the React application. So all the CSS that we have given in the index.css will be available in any component that we are creating. At first we are going to build the header which says my todos. So let's go to the src. In the src folder you have to right click and create a new folder, and we will call that folder components, and inside that we are going to create our header component, header.jsx. JSX is the extension of the file which will contain the component. If a file contains component, we have to give the extension as .jsx. And here we are going to write the code for the header component. Export default function header, we are calling it as header, and we have to return div, and we have to give class name. Class name is used to apply CSS. Any CSS that we have written in the React application, if we want to apply that CSS to the HTML, we have to use class name. So in order to apply the style to the div, we have to use class name. Not only to div, for any HTML element, if we want to apply CSS, we have to use the class name property. And we have written class in the index.css. So from index.css we can copy the to do header, and for header div we are giving the class name as to do header. I told you that the CSS that we have given in the index.css will be available in any component. So we can directly give like this, and inside this we have to write a h1 tag, and we can write my to-dos, any heading that you want. So I am writing my name Sarath to-dos, you can write your name. So we have created a header component. React is all about component. The main responsibility of a React developer is creating components. So here this is the name of the component. Our component name is header. This is a functional component. There is two ways of creating component, class component and function component. But right now we are asked to use only function components. Nobody uses class component these days. And then what about this export default? So if this component that we have written in this file, if this component has to be available in other files, we have to export this component from here. Only if we export it from here, it will be available in the other files. So in other files what we have to do is, we have to import this component. So we are making this component available in other files by exporting it. So now what we can do is, we can go to the app.js, and in app.js component we can import that header component. Import header from components bar header. Components is the folder, and inside that component we have the header file, and inside that header file header.jsx we have the header component. So now we have imported it here. So now the component is available here. We can call the component here header. This is how we will call the component. We will use the component header. So right now we have given header here. You have to note something. This is app component, and this app component is used in the index.js. This index.js is the entry point of the React application. This is the entry point of the React application. and in the entry point they have given app component, and in the app component now we have written our header. So now let's go to our UI. You can see here we have got the header. We have got the header which says Sarath's to-dos. So we have successfully created our first component. We have created the header section. Now we are going to create the form that we need. You can see here there is add button, there is cancel button, there is clear button, complete button and delete button. So in order to display all of these buttons, we can create one component. So let's go and create that component. So inside our components folder, we can create button.jsx file, and here let's create the button component. Export default function button, and for button we need props. If we want to make a component reusable, then we need props. Through props we can set a lot of things. From here we have to return button and we have to return class name, and the class name will be props.class. So what we are passing through the class props will be set as the class name. And we need an on click. On click means it is an event, it is a JavaScript event that will occur when we are clicking on the button. So when we are clicking on the button, if we want something to happen, then we have to write that code in the on click event of the button. So that is the on click event. So let's give props.handle click. So we have to pass a function in order to handle the on click of the function, and we also have to display the text of the button. So let's give props.text. So now we have created the button component. Our button component has three properties, three props, that is class, handle click and the text. So the text will be displayed as the text of the button, and handle click is to handle the on click of the button. What will happen when we are clicking on the button? And class name is for the style. The class property, class props is for the style of the button. So we have created the button component. Let's go to our UI. In the UI, the remaining is the form and the pending to do section and the completed to do section. Now we are going to create another component which we will call as, you have to note something, this is the name of the file, this is not the name of the component, okay. So we are calling the file as todolist.jsx. So this is just file name, this is not component name. Component name is what we give inside the file. Inside the file what we give like this, that is the component name. This is just file name. Component name also you can decide, it's up to you. You can name your component what you want. File name also it is up to you. You don't necessarily have to use the same name that I am giving. You can use a different name if you want. So we have created a to-do list.jsx component. So here we can write export default function to do list. This is the main component where we are going to put the form. You can see in the UI there is the form, and then there is two sections, pending to dos and completed to dos. So this form and the two sections we are going to put it in this component. So this to do list component will have the code for the form and the pending to dos and the completed to do section. So here what we have to do is, in this to do list component we have to import the button component that we have created. So import button from button. So, this button component we are importing in the to do list component because we have to use it in this component. And here we can write return. So, we want to return multiple lines of code. So, that is why we are using this bracket. Here we are returning only one line of code. So, we did not use the bracket, but here we have to return multiple lines of code. And I am using fragment, and inside that I am giving a div class name, and the CSS class name is to do form, and inside that I am writing h1. This is the heading of the add to do form. So, I am giving it as add to do. Let us import this to do list. Here import to do list from dot components bar to do list. So, we have imported it, and after our header component we are going to give the to do list component. So, right now let us go to our UI, and we can see here we are getting that heading of the form. So, in to do list, now what we have to do is we have to add a input. This input will allow us to type the to do, this input. So, we have to add it. Input type will be text, and placeholder is the text that will be displayed inside the text box. I will show you that. Here if we clear this, you can see here inside that text box there is a type to do text that is displayed. When we are typing something, it will go. So, that is placeholder. So, let us give placeholder. We can give it as type your to do. And let us close this. If we are going to the UI, now you can see we have got our input text box, and the placeholder is there, type your to do. And now we have to add the two buttons that is there in the UI, that is the add button and the cancel button. So, let us add that also. For that we have to give another div with the class name to do form buttons, and in this div, inside this div we are going to give two buttons. I told you that the button component is to get all the buttons. Wherever we need button in our application, we can simply call this component, and the props are, remember that, class, handle, click and text. So, what we have to do is we have to give the name of the component and then pass the props, so that we will get to the button. So, one is class, and we can give it as add button. Then we have to give handle click. It has to be a function to handle the click on the button. Right now we are giving it as an empty function. We will write code for it later. Right now we are giving it as an empty function. And then we have to write the text, okay, the text of the button, that will be add, and button we have to close it like this. Now, let us go to our UI. You can see here we have got the add button. Now, it is time to add the cancel button. So, we have to use this component again, give the class cancel button. These classes are written in the index.css, remember that. So, I will show you that. You can see here add button, cancel button, CSS are written in the index.css. And handle click we can give as an empty function, and the text will be cancel. So we have added the cancel button also. You can see here in the UI we are getting the cancel button. Now what we have to do is we have to add the pending to do section and the completed to do section. So let's do that. So for that we have to add another div with the class name to do section. So class name has to be to do section, and inside that we have to add another div with the class name to do left. So this will be the left section where we are going to display the pending to dos, and then we need a to do right section with the class name to do right, and inside this we can give the heading H1 pending to dos. In the right section we can give the heading completed to dos. So let's go to our UI. You can see here we are getting pending to dos and completed to dos. We added another div with the class name to do section, and inside that there are two divs. One is to do left and one is to do right. Inside that we have given the headings. So we have got to the pending to dos and completed to dos. Now if we look at the UI, you can see here there is a bracket which shows the number of to dos in that section. Okay, it is in the pending to dos and the completed to do section. So in the code we can right now give a count like this. So it will come in the bracket, and we have to give the clear button. So clear button is there. So here also we can use the button component, button. Class name we can use the same class name as that of the add button, because the look wise it is same. So right now there is nothing, and the button text will be clear. Okay, and then we have to close the component like this. Let's copy this and let's paste it here also. So right now we have added a clear button in the pending to do section and also in the completed to do section. So you can see here the button have come, but the CSS is not applied. So let's check why. Okay, it's not class name, the prop is class. Okay, that was the mistake. So right now you can see the clear button is coming in the way that we expected. Now we have to display this list of to dos. The list of to dos is the main thing that we need to implement in the application. So in order to display this list of to dos, we have to go to the code, and here we are going to use the useState hook. So we are going to take the help of useState hook. So if you watch this video completely, you will get a clear understanding of how to use the useState hook. So we have imported the useState hook. Now we are going to use the useState hook. So this is how we will use it. After const you have to give an array, and in that I am giving pending to dos. I will explain what this is, and change pending to dos and useState, and I am giving the initial value as an array. So this is how we will use useState hook. You have to look at the name of the hook. So in programming, whenever you are using something, you have to look at the name of that thing. So the name is useState. That means it will help us to use the state of the component. Every React component has a state. State means a temporary storage place. Every component has a state. In that state, we can put some data and that data will be available to that component. So, state is a temporary storage place that every component has, and useState hook, it will allow us to use that state. Using useState hook, we can create variables inside the state of a component. So, in this component to do list, there is a state, and using the useState hook, we are creating an array inside the state of the to do list component. So, why it become an array? Because we are using the initial value as an array. Inside useState we are giving an array. So, this pending to dos, it will become an array. This change pending to dos, it is a function, and this function will help us change the pending to dos array. Just because we have given empty array inside the useState hook, this pending to dos have become an array that is in the state of the component, and this change pending to dos is a function that will help us to change the pending to dos array. We have to create one more, const completed to dos, change completed to dos. So, we are creating one more array in the state of the component using the useState hook, that is completed to dos, and this function change completed to dos will help us change the completed to dos array. So, right now what we can do is pending to dos, let us copy that name, and here inside the bracket where we have to display the count of the number of to dos in a section, we can give like this the curly brace. Whenever we want to access the value of a variable or array or anything or object, we have to use the curly brace, and we can give pending to dos dot length, and here we can give completed to dos dot length. Now, we can go to the UI. You can see here the length is right now 0 because we have not added anything. So, we are getting the length as getting the count as 0 for both the sections. When we are going on adding, it will get updated. We can add one data to the pending to dos and completed to dos. We are giving it directly into the state. So, let us give it learn Python, and here also let us give it as learn TypeScript. We are giving one element in the array. So, now if you come here, you can see it have become 1, the count have become 1 because there is one element in both arrays, both state arrays. Why I added this is because we have to map it into the UI. You can see here we need a list in both the sections, so we have to map it. So, we have created two state arrays, pending to dos and completed to dos. From pending to dos, we will show the list of pending to do items, pending to dos. From completed to dos, we will show the list of completed to dos. So, I will show you that. Now, the array has one element each. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to map it to the UI. So, here we have to add a curly brace. Whenever we are going to add a code where we are mapping an array, we have to do like this, we have to give the curly brace. And then we have to take the pending to dos, which is the array that we have created in the state, and we are mapping the pending to dos item. Map is a JavaScript function which is used to map list of items, array of items into the UI. So, whenever we need to map a list of items into the UI, we need the map function. Inside the map function, we have to give another function. So, give like this to do, and we are going to map it div class name to do item. The class name is going to be to do item. After writing the code for mapping, I will tell you what is happening exactly. So, give a div which says to do item, and we have to give another div class name to do item text. So, this is to display the text of the to do item, and inside that we can give to do. Okay, so let us go to the UI. In the UI you can see here learn Python. That to do item that is in the pending to dos array got mapped into the UI. Now we also have to display two buttons, which is complete and delete. So we can use, we have to give one more div to do form buttons. The class name is to do form buttons, and inside that we have to give a button with the class complete button and handle click. Right now we can pass it as a empty arrow function. This is arrow function, we are passing an empty arrow function, and the text of the button will be complete. So complete button we have added, we have to add the delete button also. So here the class is going to be delete button, handle click, the text is going to be delete. So let us go to the UI. So now you can see here the complete button have come and also delete button have come along with the to do text. So what is happening here is we are taking the pending to dos, which is a array, and we are mapping it into the UI elements. We are mapping it into a div. So that div with the class name to do item, and inside that div there are other divs also, and there is one div in which we are displaying the to do text, and then there is another div in which we are displaying the two buttons complete and delete. If we are right clicking and inspecting and going to console, we can see a error here which says each child in a list should have a unique key prop. So whenever we are mapping a list of items into the UI, we need to use the key prop in React. So that is a compulsory. So what we can do here is, for this div, for the outer div, we can give a key. This key has to be a string value, and also this string value has to be unique. So for the key there are two requirements, it has to be a string value and also it has to be a unique value. So what we can do here is, right now we can give the to do text as the key, and let us go here and reload and check if that warning is gone. So you can see here in the console there is no warning, that key warning is gone. And now let us map the completed to dos into the UI. So in the inside this div to do right, we are going to take completed to dos, completed to dos dot map, and we are now mapping the completed to dos into the UI. To do the div class name to do item, it is the same to do item, and let us give the key here. Now we can give it as to do, give a closing div. We can actually copy this and paste it here because everything is same. Now let us go to our UI, and you can see here we have mapped the completed to dos into the UI also. In the UI that we have to build, you can see here there is a serial number. So in the UI that we are building, we have not added that. So let us add that. So in order to do that, what we can do is, to the map function we can give an argument index. When we are using the map function, we can also access the index of the array item. So, this index, if we give like this, it will give us the index of the array item. So, we can give the index, and before the to do text we can display the index. Okay. So, like this we can display it here also. So, now if we are looking into the UI, we can see 0 because the index starts from 0. The index of array item starts from 0, but here it starts from 1. So, what we can do is, we can give like this index plus 1, so that it starts from 1. So, it is starting from 1, let us give a bracket. So, we are giving a bracket so that it starts from, okay. So, now you can see we have added that also. Now, it is time for us to type the to do here and click on the add button, and then we can add it into the pending to do. Now, what we can do is, we can remove this from the array. Okay, we do not need it anymore, because now what we are going to do, as I told you, is we are going to type it here and we are going to add it. So, we can remove it from the state array. So, we are removing it from the state array. So, nothing will be there. When I am typing on the input text box and then I am adding on the add button, it has to get added to the pending to do section. So, the text that I am typing into the input text box, I have to get that text. Only if I get that text, I will be able to add it into the to do items, right. So, we have to write code to get the text that we are typing. So, just to do that, in order to get the text that we are typing, we first have to create a state variable that will be to do text, and then change to do text, okay, and use state, and this is a string variable and initial value will be empty. And here to the input text box, we have to add a function, we have to add a event, that is on change. On change is an event which will happen when we are typing on the text box. When we are typing on the text box, the on change event will get fired. As the value of this on change, we have to pass a function handle input change, and then we have to create that function. So, we are going to write that function handle input change, okay, handle input change, and the function takes an argument event. So, here console.log event event.target.value. So, we have written the function handle input change which receives event as the argument, and then we have console event.target.value. So, let us go to the UI, inspect and take the console. In the input text box, let us type something, and you can see here what we are typing in the input text is getting consoled, and we are getting this console from the handle input change function. Handle input change function, we have passed it on the on change event of the text box. So, when we are typing on the text box, the on change event will work. We can take the value event.target.value and we can set it in the state variable to do text, and then we have to take the to do text and we have to assign it as the value of the input text box. So, right now the input text box value is controlled by a state variable. Now, the text that we are typing is in the state variable, the text that we are typing is in the state variable to do text. So, when we are clicking on the add button, we have to take the text and add it to the pending to do. So, let us do that. Let us add a function const add to do. So, the function name is add to do, and what we have to do is we have to add it to the pending to dos. So, change pending to dos, and here we are taking the already existing to dos. So, what we have to do is we have to add it to the pending to do array, but we have to keep the existing items as it is, right. We have to add the new item, also we have to keep the existing items. So, in order to do that, we will do like this. To the existing items, we will add to do text, and we can take this add to do function and we can pass it here. Add to do. We are passing it on the handle click of the add button. So, let us reload the website. Let us write learn React and click on the add button. You can see here it is getting added into the pending to dos section. Let us write something else, learn TypeScript, add button, it is getting added. You have to notice something here, even after adding the to do item, that to do text is staying there as it is. So, when we have done adding, we have to actually clear this. Okay. When we have added it, we have to clear the to do text. For that, what we can do is, after this we can do like this, change to do text to empty. So, if I am doing like this add, you can see here it is getting added and also the to do text is getting cleared. So, that is the required workflow. Right now, you can see here this count is getting updated. There are 3 pending to dos. Now, what we have to do is, if we are clicking on the complete button, this to do has to go from this section to the completed to do section. You can see we are using 2 state arrays, pending to dos for the pending to do section and completed to dos for the completed to do section. So, when I am clicking on the complete button, I have to take it from the pending to dos and add it into the completed to dos. So, let us write a function to handle the complete to do. So, const complete to do, and for this function we need an argument which is index. I will tell you why. So, complete to do, we have to add, this is the complete button, and we have to add like this complete to do, and we have to pass the index. When we are mapping, we are taking the index also. I told you the index will give the index of the array item. Index means the position of the elements in the array. Every element in the array has a position. So, that position is the index. Using that position, we can access the array item. So, we are passing the completed to do function, and as the argument we are passing index. And here what we have to do, I told you, to completed to do, we have to take it from the pending to dos and we have to add it into the completed to dos. So, const element, we have to take it from the pending to dos. So, pending to dos of index will give us the element, and then we have to add it into the completed to dos. Change completed to dos, take the existing items and add the new item. And now we have to delete it from the pending to dos, right? The pending to do no more needs this completed to do. So, const current pending items, we are taking a copy of the pending to dos. So, when we are doing like this, we are actually taking copy of the array. We are taking copy of the array, and from the copy we are deleting the element. In order to delete, we are using the splice function. Splice, we have to give the index and we have to give 1. That means, in this index, delete the item in this index and delete one item. Okay, from this index delete one item, that is the meaning of the statement. Now, what we have to do is change pending to dos and we have to change it to the current pending items. So, we have written the code for completed to do and we have passed the completed to do in the complete button. Okay. So, if I am clicking on the complete button, let us check what happens. Okay. So, when I am clicking on the complete button, you can see here from the pending to dos it got added to the completed to dos. And one thing you have to note here is, here also the complete button is coming, that is not needed. So, let us go here, that came because we copy pasted the code. Okay, we can delete the complete button from there. Okay, the complete button is gone. Right now, we have to implement the delete functionality. When we are clicking on delete, we have to delete the to do. So, there are two sections. So, we need to know from which section we need to delete the to do. Const delete to do. The function name is delete to do, and delete to do needs two arguments, index and from. Index is to get the item from the array and then to delete it. From, I will tell you what is from. If from equal to pending, if the to do has to be deleted from the pending section, then we have to write code in one way. If it is has to be deleted from completed, in another way. So, const current, we are again taking the copy current pending items, take the copy of the pending to dos and in the copy delete it using the index and then set it to the pending to dos. So, the item will be deleted. Else what we have to do? We have to do the same thing. It is not pending items, it is current completed items and we have to take the completed to dos. And from current completed items delete it and here it is change completed items, give it like this. Okay, so this is the code to delete the to do. Take the delete to do and add it here. Okay. Delete to do, pass the index and this is the pending section. So, we have to give the second argument as pending. This is the completed section. So, after index the second argument is completed. This argument is to decide from where we have to delete the to do. If it is pending, we will delete it from the pending to dos array. If it is not pending, we will delete it from the completed to dos array. So, let us go to the UI, let us add something random and let us delete it. It is getting deleted. let's add something and change it to completed, and let's click on delete. So, it is getting deleted from the completed section also. So, we have implemented complete and delete functionality. Right now, what we have to do is we have to implement the clear functionality. When I am clicking on the clear button, that section to dos needs to get cleared. So, let us write code for that also. Const clear pending to dos. So, this is to clear the pending to dos. What we have to do is we have to change the pending to dos into an empty array. If we are changing it into an empty array, that section will get cleared. Let us write one more function, clear completed to dos. What we have to do? Change completed to dos, and the completed to dos we have to set it as an empty array. Take the change pending to dos and give it here, clear pending to dos. Take the completed to dos and give it as the value of handle click for the completed to do section. Okay. So, if I am clicking on clear, you can see here that section got cleared. Okay. So, let us add something random complete. So, it will go there. So, we have implemented the clear button also. Now, what we have to do is when I am typing some text, and if I am clicking on the cancel button, this text has to get cleared. So, what we can do is we have to write another function which is const handle cancel. So, this function will handle the cancel button, and what we have to do, change to do text, change it to empty. Take the handle cancel and give it here, handle cancel. So, if I am typing on cancel, it will get cancelled, it will get cleared. So, we have implemented the cancel button functionality also. So, here if we are not typing anything and clicking on the add button, there is an error that is coming. To do text should be minimum 3 characters. So, we have to implement this. So, in order to implement that, what we have to do is we have to create error, change error. Okay. useState, first of all it is going to be empty, and after the input we have to give a span with the class name error, and we have to pass the error here. And now, in the add to do, what we have to do is, if to do text dot length greater than 2, if the to do text dot length, if the length of the to do text is greater than 2, then only add it. Okay, then only we will add it. If the length is not greater than 2, what we will do is change error, we can give the error message, to do text should be minimum 3 characters. If the length is greater than 2, we can set it to empty. So, here let us add to do. Okay. Now, we have not typed anything. Now, when I am clicking on add, you can see here we are getting the error message, to do text should be minimum 3 characters. If we are typing more than 3, it is not going. Okay, I will handle it. Okay, that we have to handle here also. If event dot target dot value dot length greater than 2, then change error empty. Okay, that means if we have typed more than 2 characters, we have to change the error to empty. Okay, so if I am clicking on it without adding anything, it will come. When I have typed more than 2, it will go, and when I am adding, it will get added. So we have did a complete to do application. This is not like the normal to do application that you are seeing on YouTube. This is a little bit advanced to do application. We have two sections, pending to dos and the completed to dos. There is a complete button, delete button, there is cancel button. So we did everything. So this to do application might have given you good knowledge about how React works, how component is created, how useState hook is used. So I hope you liked the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, give me a like. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.